Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
Hunger takes no summer vacation, and some Virginia farmers are helping by allowing volunteers to glean their fields for food programs. We have a hearty slow cooker recipe for you to enjoy involving chili and Fritos. And what does it take to grow a pumpkin that weighs as much as a cow or more? We'll visit the state record holder and learn some of his tips.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at Pole Green Market in Mechanicsville, Virginia, where folks enjoy locally harvested produce every day. But there are some Virginians who can enjoy local produce, thanks in part to volunteer gleaning programs and generous farmers. Patrick Dunn has more from the northwest corner of the state.
Betty Heichman and her crew of dedicated volunteers are on a mission. On this day, as part of the Society of St. Andrew, they're gleaning unpicked corn for the needy that would have normally rotted in the field. The race was on to harvest the corn before it lost its flavor or nutrition.
The goal of St. Andrew was to eliminate hunger in America by taking care of the waste. There's enough going to waste to feed every person in this country that doesn't have enough food. It's just a matter of getting it from where it's at to those that need it. Today, the farmer has given us a part of this acreage of sweet corn, and we've got volunteers in here from all over the community that have answered a call to come out and help us to glean this food, and we will take it to area soup kitchens and food pantries to serve those in need.
For 34 years, the Society of St. Andrew has been working in Virginia and across the nation to help collect unused food for the hungry. The Virginia Farm Bureau Women and Young Farmers programs are two of many organizations that help spread the word about the program. Headquartered in Virginia, the Society of St. Andrew is one of the top charities in the nation, working closely with food banks and other hunger programs. For farm co-owner Bill Klein, the arrangement just makes sense.
I was having a whole lot of overproduction on some crops, right down to sweet corn and peaches, and rather than see it go to waste, I'd rather see somebody have it, because there's a whole lot of hungry people in this country.
Klein is one of dozens of Virginia farmers who donate extra produce each year. Hunger experts say Americans waste up to $165 billion worth of food each year. And so far this year, St. Andrew volunteers have gleaned more than 14 million pounds of food across the U.S. In 2012, the Society broke a record in Virginia, gleaning more than 2 million pounds. This year, the count is up to over 340,000 pounds in the Old Dominion, and the season just started due to a rainy summer. The numbers are impressive, but that's not why volunteers like Rick Creasy get involved. He says a friend asked to borrow his apple picker, and he realized this could be an important part of his faith and his life.
It's a good way to give back. It's good, honest work. People need to eat. It was one of the things Jesus told us was to feed my sheep, and this is a good way to do it. And thank God for the orchardists and the people like Bill Klein who allow us to do this. We have something to do and some way to give back.
This is why I love this, because it's such a perfect operation. You take people with a hearts to help and an organization that's putting it all together, and the farmers that want to help, and you got it.
The gleaners will be out from now well into November, gathering unused crops for the needy in Virginia. If you'd like to get involved, either as a volunteer picker or to donate, go to their website, endhunger.org, to learn more about the program. Reporting from Frederick County, Virginia, I'm Patrick Dunn.
Tucked into the northwest tip of Virginia is Frederick County, the state's top apple locality. The 676 farms in this area are where farmers raise not only apples, but beef cattle, hogs, poultry, and sheep. Hay is an important crop in the county, along with animal feeds like corn, oats, and wheat. 5,870 acres of land is in apple orchards here, more than anywhere else in Virginia. Overall, agriculture contributes $28 million each year to the economy of Frederick County, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Mark Biette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about summer pruning of crepe myrtle. Stay with us.
I love being a dairy farmer because it's an adventure to be a dairy farmer. It's a new beginning every day.
Every day I can get up in the morning and have a smile on my face, whether it's raining or whether the sun's shining. I love what I do.
Growing up on a dairy farm, I think you learn to work really hard and don't take anything for granted.
There's a lot of work to do on a dairy farm. You have to be committed.
It's a huge responsibility that we have being farmers. We take pride in it, and we're proud to be able to do it.
Every day we have the opportunity to provide a wholesome product that's vitamin rich and nutrient full.
It's a feel-good feeling knowing that I'm putting food on somebody else's table and that I'm doing a good job doing it.
I am Ken Smith.
I'm Ben Smith.
And I'm dedicated to dairy,
my cows, my milk, my land.
Crepe myrtles are very popular in Virginia yards and gardens, and it turns out that summer is the perfect time to clean them up, as Mark Viette tells us in the garden.
Crepe myrtle can grow anywhere from 1.5 foot in height, and they'll stay that height, or they can grow up to 40 or 50 feet even taller. So, you know, there's like 6 classifications. There's dwarf or super dwarf, dwarf, medium, medium tall height, and you can look that up online. You get all the different classifications. The type of crepe myrtle I'd like to talk about today is the more shrub growth crepe myrtle. And this is a crepe myrtle that will grow anywhere from 5 to maybe 10 feet tall, and that is its perfect size. And in many cases, depending on where you live, if you live in warmer areas, you're not going to find a lot of dieback like we have here. But if you live in some of the colder areas, or you experience those late freezes in the spring or early freezes in the fall, this growth from last year will be damaged. And a lot of times, I don't like to prune crepe myrtle till I see what is alive and what is dead. The shrub types of crepe myrtle benefit from being thinned out, and that is where you go in and take some of the oldest growth, maybe 5-year growth, 4-year growth completely out, and you let the new growth take over. If you experience a very cold winter and the majority of the plant is damaged, or if you live in very cold areas, you may have to come in and cut the whole plant back pretty hard. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and thin it out. And as if you look here on this branch, right, that I've got here, you can see some of the growth is alive right on this plant here, and then it stops here. So in some cases, I may tip some of these branches back, but on this one here, it's completely dead. This one here is completely dead. So what I'm going to do is start working and thinning it out. You know, I only like to take about, 1 or 2 out of every 5 branches to thin it out, and you'll really get a lot of great exercise. So just put you on your knees. You really got to get hard at it and working, and you'll have your exercise for the whole week. This whole stem you see here is dyed back all the way to the base. So I'm going to cut it about 3 inches above the soil level. So I'm going to remove this branch, just like this, take it away. This one here is completely dead. So I'm going to come in here, and you can see years ago where we had to prune it in the past. So I'm going to come and take this one out. This one has growth to here, so I'm not going to cut it all the way back, but I might come right in here. When it comes to this one here, what I'm going to do is hold it, and then there it is there, okay? And prune that one there. And then this one, I'm just going to prune this tip. So really, I'm thinning it out. And this is going to bloom probably quite a while this summer. And it may bloom as late as September and even into October. Since I'm pruning it in midsummer, it will bloom a little later. In about 5 minutes, I've gotten a little bit of a workout, but look at all the dead. And not only that, I thinned this out. So a lot more air can go through this plant, gets a lot more sun, and therefore better blooming for the shrub-sized crepe myrtles in the garden. Remember, there are probably 50 different types of shrub crepe myrtles alone that you can use to get that wonderful long summer color. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com. Up next on Real Virginia, slow cookers are a great help for many home chefs. We have a stick-to-your-ribs recipe for one that's a favorite all year long.
This summer, conservation police officers
and Virginia State Troopers are teaming up to save lives.
Because we know the drunk boaters on the water
become drunk drivers on the highway.
Drunk boating is drunk driving.
Alcohol use is a leading factor in fatal boating accidents, and it's directly to blame for 1/3 of our fatal accidents on our highways.
Don't drink and drive.
And don't drink and boat.
Do your part to keep it a safe summer.
Whether it's hot weather or cold, every cook loves an easy recipe that you can prepare and let simmer all day long. Kendra Bailey Morris has just the ticket in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. We are here in Sur La Table's gorgeous kitchen today, and we are going to be making a slow cooker recipe. And this is a recipe from my cookbook, The Southern Slow Cooker. And this is a really great recipe. It's a Frito pie, and you may or may not be sure what Frito pie is. It's not really a pie. It's actually a combination of chili and Frito's corn chips and sour cream and cheese, and how can you go wrong with that? And it's a really, really easy recipe to make. It's a crowd pleaser. Definitely something that's great if you're going to be entertaining. So basically, to make this, you're going to approach this as you would just be making typical chili. And I've got some ground beef that I've been frying in this pan here. And I use extra lean beef. And whenever I'm slow cooking, I always try to use extra lean ground beef because as it renders a lot of fat, you don't want whatever's cooking in your slow cooker just to be sitting in a pile of fat. So it's tempting to do the 80-20 or 85-15 on the beef. I do an extra lean is what I prefer, and you still get plenty of tenderness because it cooks so long. And I've already got this browned. So I'm going to go ahead and add some garlic. I've got some minced garlic. And some people might be saying, oh, well, why are you using the pan when you have the slow cooker? Well, I actually prefer almost as much as possible, even though it's an extra step, to brown my foods in the pan. It adds so much more flavor because slow cooking typically tends to water things down. And you can do the dump and cook if you like, but I definitely encourage you with dishes like this to brown your beef. It's also a safety concern. You want to do that as well, and you'll get tons more flavor doing this. Extra step. It's well worth it. And I also have some chili powder, a couple of tablespoons of chili powder. And I'm just going to toast these spices. Again, it's going to add more flavor on down the road. And I've got some cumin. These are all very typical when you're making chili. Oregano. This is dried oregano. And I've got some salt here, as well as some sugar. And that just kind of balances the heat out a little bit because we're going to put some cayenne, which is next, and a little black pepper. And this is ready to go. I'm just going to stir it around a bit. And you could go heavy or easy on the cayenne pepper depending on how you like it. I like things spicy, so I did about a teaspoon or so. Okay, so I've got my slow cooker insert ready to go, and I'm just going to pour this directly in. And I like to go ahead and spray the inside of my slow cooker with some cooking spray. It makes life much easier. It makes cleanup a whole lot easier at the end when you're finished after this has been cooking for a while. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some tomato sauce. It's just plain tomato sauce. And then I'm going to add a can of chilies and tomatoes, like a Rotel brand, chilies and tomatoes. There's lots of different brands out there, and it's basically just canned tomatoes with some canned chilies. And that adds a little extra heat, so you'll want to be aware of that. And then finally, I'm going to add some red kidney beans. And give this a stir. That looks great. And now I'm just going to go ahead and drop it inside my slow cooker. And I'm going to put the lid on. Don't forget that. And we're going to cook it on low for about 7 to 9 hours thereabouts. Certain slow cookers run really hot. You might want to do it a little bit less. Certain slow cookers run a little bit cooler. I always encourage people, know your slow cooker, very, very important so things don't under or overcook. But I found that with an average 5 or 6 quart, around 7 to 9 hours is perfect. So this is a great kind of set it and forget it recipe. So we're going to let this go and we'll be right back and we'll finish the recipe. And our chili is finished and it smells amazing. Of course, the great thing about slow cooking, your house smells incredible all day long. And this is looking really good. And this is a thicker chili, and it's a thicker chili because it's going to go on top of the Fritos. And this is a very Texas dish, originated in Texas, or so the saying goes. And it's not something that you'd be necessarily eating out of a bowl, although you could. So what I'm going to do is start by adding some Fritos corn chips. And I prefer the smaller ones because they're easier to eat, bite-size wise. And I can't say this is a low-fat dish, but it's really, really good. Everything in moderation, right? This is a splurge. This is a game day recipe that would be wonderful. And now I'm going to go ahead and take some of the chili. And you just pile it right on top, like so. Always feel free to be generous with it. Here it is here. And to really finish it off, you can always add some jalapenos, and this is a very traditional way of making this dish. Some pickled jalapenos, just kind of throw those on there. Minced onions. Another way to serve this dish is to serve it right out of the smaller packages of Fritos, and that's a lot of fun, especially if you were having a party. You just pile it all in the bag and then give everybody a fork and let them eat right out of the bag. It's called a walking taco. And of course, I'm going to add some cheese. Got to have the cheese. Right there in the middle, that works. And some cilantro. So you can build these however you want to build them, but I think this is always the prettiest. You have a whole layering going on here. Okay, so this is our dish for slow cooker Frito pie. Again, we've kind of made our own little pie here. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
Did you know that nearly 9 out of 10 U.S. households, about 88%, will eat beef at home in the next 2 weeks? Steak is the most popular beef dish in America. Beef production is an industry that produces more than $74 billion. In Virginia, more than $373 million was generated in cash receipts according to the latest statistics. Virginia's top beef-producing county is Augusta with more than 35,500 head of cattle.
The tradition returns at the State Fair of Virginia, September 27th through October 6th at the Meadow Event Park in Doswell. Come enjoy all the thrills from the midway rides and games to every kind of fried food imaginable. Funnel cakes to corn dogs, there's something for kids of all ages. Like live music, we'll have music every day and night at the fair, including a host of national acts. Horse shows and exhibits can be seen every day at the fair. Young McDonald's Farm returns and continues the tradition of the baby ducks, cows, sheep, llamas, and Goat Mountain. And don't forget the Dairy Birthing Center. The fair is a great way for school kids to visit Virginia's largest outdoor classroom with 12 SOL certified agriculture and forestry exhibits. Hundreds of students from all over the state will compete for scholarships and state bragging rights by showing their prize animals. Come see the state's largest pumpkin and watermelon. It doesn't matter if you're 1 or 101, there's something for everyone to enjoy. It's a Virginia family tradition that promises memories to last a lifetime. To learn more, go to statefairva.org.
Hello, little prince.
Mother, what we gonna do today?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Giant pumpkins are just one of the fun attractions at the State Fair of Virginia, but have you ever wondered what it takes to raise one of these monster vegetables? Norm Hyde tells us how in this report.
6 years ago, William Layton set a state record with his giant pumpkin, 1,138 pounds. That's more than half a ton, or as heavy as a fully grown dairy cow. At the time, he was confident he'd have a world record pumpkin the following year, but he's been skunked ever since.
The secret to growing giant pumpkins is weather and luck. And this year we're having some horrible weather, but I still got a patch with my new growing system that I got.
It turns out that growing pumpkins in Virginia is more challenging than other areas of the country due to our humid summers and tropical storm systems. 2 years ago, Layton lost a 1,500-pound pumpkin just 3 weeks before the State Fair of Virginia. Last year, a serious thunderstorm in June wiped out his pumpkin patch. This year, he's using a new growing method featuring his own brand of mulch and growing socks to keep down disease and moisture problems. He spends months every year nurturing his pumpkin plants, which can be 35 to 40 feet long, for just one gourd. His wife calls herself a pumpkin widow because he can spend hours each day in the patch.
Normally you have to weed it every day. You have to water. You got to make sure everything's watered. You got to make sure you don't have any insects. A lot of people bury their vines to keep the squash vine borers off of them, and I don't do that. I treat mine with insecticide. I mean, it's just so much to do in the day, and at the height of the pumpkins when they grow, I've had them grow as much as 45 to 50 pounds a day.
Layton's son, William Jr., helps in the patch, and this year his pumpkin is much closer to his house, but it's still a big time commitment, and it can be expensive since most giant vegetable growers use custom seeds. Some growers buy their seeds on the internet, while he uses seeds he's bred for himself.
I've seen some of the giant pumpkin seeds that grew the world record pumpkins go for as much as $1,000 for one seed, and you don't even know if it'll open up and grow.
Layton is a member of the Virginia Giant Vegetable Growers Association. He's trying his hand at giant watermelons this year as well. He says an extremely wet spring this year has already knocked out most of his competitors, but anyone can grow a larger than usual pumpkin.
You can grow a 300-pounder, 400-pounder very easily if you get good seeds, and you can find them on the internet. And also, you got to have a big spot.
In addition to keeping the pumpkin dry and fighting disease and insect problems, Layton says you have to prevent it from scalding in the summer sun. Despite all the hard work, working in the pumpkin patch is relaxing for him, a chance to reconnect with nature. He's been hooked on trying to grow a giant pumpkin since his first one in 2005.
I guess we're just crazy, I don't know. It's just something about it. The plant, it's just like totally alive. You can watch it, it grows like 2.5 foot a day. On good days, the pumpkin will put on 40 or 50 pounds. You can actually watch this plant grow.
This year, Layton's off to a good start. His pumpkin's grown 70 pounds in the first 2 weeks since the fruit set. He has his fingers crossed it will make it all the way to the end of September, when he'll need a backhoe to load it onto a pallet and drive it to Caroline County and the State Fair of Virginia weigh-in. But experience tells him the odds are still against him. In Nelson County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We're so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.